Hello and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be talking about CSS specificity. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you find the video useful, share it with someone else. Also, if you want to support my channel, I am going to leave my PayPal link in the description below. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so to get started with CSS specificity, I need you to open w3schools.com. You're going to go to the CSS section and you're going to scroll all the way down to where it says CSS specificity. Now, as well, I need you to have open the same website we've been using so far. What I am going to do though, it's clear out the entire HTML file in the body section, and I'm also going to clear out the style in the style.css file as well. I just saved both of them and then let's hit refresh. Perfect. So now we have a blank page. So to get started with CSS specificity, I want to cover this topic because sometimes you might make mistakes in your codes. And when that happens, or let's say that you do not know certain rules, then you're probably going to be lost and you're probably going to think that your code is not working because you're doing something wrong. And sometimes you probably will be doing something wrong, and some other times you will not. Okay, so what is specificity? So first, let's read a little bit. If there are two or more conflicts with CSS rules that points to the same element, then the browser follows some rules to determine which one is the most specific and therefore wins out. So in other words, specificity means that if you have an element, right, and you apply two type of styles to that element and you use the same, I don't know, let's say the same selector, then the one that is going to win will be depending upon which category is on it and what type of rule you're following. So specificity here, it means that the more specific you are, the better your browser will read your code. Okay, so an example, the universal selector, which is just an asterisk, is too broad, okay? And then an ID selector is highly specific. So if you use just the asterisk and then you use an ID, obviously the code will read the ID and is going to give a priority to apply certain style with the element that has an ID on it. Okay, but I'm not going to get yourself lost here. So let me explain this a little bit deeper. So in specificity, there is a hierarchy, okay? And hierarchy, it's divided in 4 categories. The first category, it's inline style. This is an inline style attached directly to the element to be style, meaning when we do inline CSS. Right? Now, the second specificity category, it's IDs. When you use an ID and you use the hashtag symbol in order to call that ID when you are coding, right? So an ID is the second one. Then the third one, are the classes, attributes, and pseudo classes. This category will include, again, the attributes and pseudo classes that we have been learning so far. And the fourth class will be elements and pseudo elements. So how can you tell what is the hierarchy and which class will be applied in certain scenarios? Let me tell you that the way that you will find that out is super simple. You have to be specific. That's why it's called specificity. The more specific you are, the more that your code will be read by the browser. Okay, so if you, let's say you give a style in the browser in a certain way, and then you give another style to the same element in the browser, but you're more specific in the second one, then the browser will follow the more specific rule. Okay, so let me show you 3 examples so that you are clear in what I mean about this. The first example that I will show you is going to be 2 H1 tags. Okay, so we are going to hit here where it says try it yourself, and this is going to be very simple. All we're going to do in our body section, it's add an H1. Okay, and then here we're going to say this is a text, whatever, right? So let's save that. Going back to our welcome page, hit refresh. Okay, so here is the text. Now, we are going to apply two styles to the same H1. Okay, so going back to style, we're going to apply the first style and we're going to give it a background color, and the background color here, let's use background color of, let's say the background color will be black, or you know what, let's just do it yellow as the example, yellow. And then let's say as an instance that you also somehow in your code you want to apply a second style to the same H1. You're not using a class, you're not using anything, you're just using a second H1, and instead of applying the color of yellow, you want to apply to the same H1 a color of red. Okay, so according to specificity rules, what the code, the style that will be applied is not going to be the first one that you selected, is going to be the latest style that you have applied to the same element. So right now you might think, oh, so the yellow is the one that will be applied because that's the first one we did. No, the latest one that we applied to using the same selector is the one that will be applied because that's the most recent one. So if I hit save right now, the background color of the H1 will not be yellow, it should be red. Going back to our page, let's hit refresh. Boom, you see? So that's one example in what specificity is. You see you have two H1s, then the hierarchy will say the latest one will be the one that will get the style applied. Okay, so now let me show you a second example here. The second example I will show you is going to be, let's do it with an ID, okay? So ID selectors have a higher specificity than the attribute selector. So we're going to take a look at this example and then we're going to code it. And this is with a division. So I'm going to copy the code for the division here. Let's copy this. Going back to our code, let's delete the paragraph and let's paste the division. Now, as you can see here, the division has an ID with the letter A, and then that's it, you know, some text inside of the division. I'm going to clear the style. Let's hit save. Going back to our code, let's hit refresh. Okay, so this is our division. So now, if we want to apply certain style to our division, and let's say that we use, we just select the ID here, which is just A, that's the ID of the division. And then we want to apply a background color for this. And let's say we want to make it yellow as the example. If you hit save and we hit refresh, right now the style is yellow. Now, let's say as an example that we add some second style. The second style is a division, and then we are using, well, we are actually using the attribute and the actual value of this. I'm just going to copy this, okay? And I'm going to paste this into our code in here. So this is the second way you do it. Now, when I apply that and I hit refresh, see, nothing is happening because the ID still, this ID is still the number one in the hierarchy, okay? Now, the next thing that we can say to our code is use the division, and then the division that has this specific ID will be green, okay? So division and then ID, and the background should be green when we apply this. So I am going to save this information right now, and by the way, let me just code this differently, or you know what, let's just leave it like that. Okay, so let's go back here and let's just hit refresh. Boom, now the division, the background is green. Why? Because even though you have the ID there, the first one is a little bit more specific, and it doesn't matter if I just put this as a last resource. If I hit refresh, you see this is still will be green. Why? Because here we're being more specific. We're saying division, and then we're using the ID of that division. So the more specific, again, the more specific that you are, the better that your code will take that style. Okay, so that's the second example I wanted to show you using an ID. Now the third example, it's going to be an easy one that I am going to use, will be the class. Okay, so let's go back to our code and let's create an H1 here. If you hit try it yourself, It's just an H1 saying this is a heading, okay? So I am going to do the same here into our code. Let's just paste that, an H1. Now the class of this heading will be intro, and then that's the heading, right? Now the style is empty. Let's make sure to save both documents and hit refresh. Okay, so this is a heading. We have a heading right here. Now, what happened if I apply to this heading, because there are two ways that I can apply some style to this, right? The first thing we can do is use the selector H1 to apply some style to this, and we can use the background color of red. Background color, let's say red, right? If I hit save right now, going back to our code, I hit refresh. Now the background is red. But if I want to be more specific, I use the class rather than the H1, which is the class has the name of intro. So if I use intro and then I style this, let's say background color, I don't know, let's say green yellow, just to show you a different example, hitting save. Now when I hit refresh, the website is reading this one right here. Why? Because I'm being more specific. Again, I'm just being more specific. I'm just saying there's a class in there that is called intro, which I want you, web browser, to color in green yellow. Okay, so the browser will obey the more specific rule that you are using. So that's what specificity is. You can go ahead and you can actually try this by your own. But the only reason that I took the time today to explain you this is because it'll be useful for you if down the road you want to style certain elements and sometimes the style is not being applied and you do not know, you don't have a clue. Maybe you wrote all your code super well and you don't have a clue in why this is happening. So something that you might want to check and troubleshoot when doing that is if you're using the specificity rules, okay? Because sometimes that could be the problem. And if you know how the specificity rules work, then you will be totally lost. So I hope this tutorial helps you out. Go ahead and read a little bit more here in w3schools.com and you're going to learn more things in here. You can read a little bit more in how this, in what this is, and what other rules you can see down the line when you're coding. But again, practicing this is the best way that you're going to learn. So that was it for this video, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you like it, remember to leave me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye everyone, and see you again in the next episode.